Welcome to the Explainer. We're jumping right into a pretty urgent cybersecurity intelligence report today. It seems a whole series of high-impact threats have popped up in just the last 24 hours. So we're going to break down who's behind them, their pretty wild tactics, and most importantly, what you actually need to do about it. Okay, let's get right to it. The clock is definitely ticking on this one. In just the past day, we have seen a huge surge in really sophisticated attacks from state-sponsored groups. And listen, these aren't your run-of-the-mill threats. No, these are targeted, they're well-funded, and they absolutely demand our immediate attention.
First up, let's figure out who's actually behind all this. We're going to pull back the curtain on the key players in this high-stakes game. We are currently tracking 3 major state-sponsored groups. And you know, each one has its own unique playbook, but they all share the same goal: disrupt, steal, and compromise.
And we're kicking things off with a group that probably needs no introduction: the Lazarus Group. These actors, linked to North Korea, are absolutely notorious for their bold attacks. Their latest campaign? It's so significant that it has shot them right to the top of our critical risk list.
So in their newest campaign, which they're calling Operation Graph Algo, Lazarus is hitting us where it hurts: the software supply chain. But this isn't some head-on assault. Oh no, they're basically poisoning the well. They're targeting software developers by slipping malicious code into public repositories like NPM and PyPy. It's a really subtle but potentially devastating tactic that turns a resource we all trust into a weapon.
And this is where their social engineering just gets, wow, it's impressive. They're not just blasting out generic phishing emails, they are building a whole convincing story, a fake recruitment process that lures developers right into a trap. That technical assessment they ask you to run, it's nothing more than a Trojan horse, a super clever disguise for malware that just completely betrays professional trust.
Next up, another familiar face: APT-28. You probably know them as Fancy Bear. This Russian-linked group has a long and storied history of high-profile attacks, and their latest campaign is absolutely no exception. They are going after high-value government entities in Europe with a kind of surgical precision that is both impressive and, frankly, alarming.
Operation Newsploit is really a masterclass in how to run a targeted attack. So APT-28 is using these spear phishing emails, right? They're carefully crafted to look totally legit, and they deliver malicious documents to people in defense and transportation organizations. But these documents aren't just infected, they're weaponized. They exploit a critical Microsoft Office vulnerability to just waltz past security and install their own custom malware, a nasty little implant they call Beard Shell.
Last but definitely not least, we have the Kimsuky group. This is another North Korean linked actor that's making some serious waves with its really innovative and deceptive phishing techniques. They're not just rehashing the same old tired scams, they're using cutting-edge technology to build campaigns that are way more convincing and harder to spot than ever before.
And this is where things get really, really interesting. Kimsuky is actually using generative AI to write phishing emails that sound so natural, so human, that they could fool even the most careful security pros. And they don't stop there. As you can see, they're using QR codes, a tactic we call quishing. It's an incredibly clever way to hide malicious links inside of images and bypass those traditional email security filters entirely.
Okay, so we know the who behind these attacks. Now it's time to get our hands dirty and dive into the technical stuff. We're going to take a close look at the specific vulnerabilities they're exploiting and the digital breadcrumbs they're leaving behind. You know, the indicators of compromise that can help us track them down and shut them down.
All right, this right here is your playbook. It's your guide for hunting these threats in your own environment. For the Lazarus Group, you need to be searching your dev environments for malicious packages with these names: GraphAlgo or Stellar-V2. For AP28, you're looking for that specific file hash tied to their Beard Shell loader. And take a close look at that C2 infrastructure, Filen.io. They're abusing a legitimate cloud service to steal data, which makes it way harder to spot.
Okay, you need to treat these 4 vulnerabilities like a 5-alarm fire. They are the newest additions to the Known Exploited Vulnerabilities catalog. These aren't just theoretical threats. They are being actively exploited in the wild right now. I mean, we're talking about near-perfect 9.9 and 9.8 CVSS scores for Beyond Trust and Microsoft Configuration Manager. And notice CVE 2026-2159? That's the exact vulnerability APT-28 is using to drop Beard's shell.
Okay, that was a lot, I know. We've seen the threats, we've seen the vulnerabilities. But the big question is, what do we do about it? It's time to fight back. So let's walk through a clear, prioritized action plan, a step-by-step guide to defending your organization.
First things first, your absolute top priority, P0, is patching Microsoft Configuration Manager. I mean, think about what that vulnerability means. An attacker could push malicious code to literally every single machine in your network. Next, at P1, you've got to lock down your developer environments against Lazarus, and you have to upgrade your email security to spot Kimsuky's QR code phishing. And finally, don't forget to go review and patch your remote access tools like Beyond Trust.
So, before we wrap up, I just want to leave you with one last thought here. The threats we've talked about today, they're not just isolated incidents. They are part of a much larger trend, a fundamental shift toward way more sophisticated, blended attacks that can hit us from all sides at once.
So the question I really want you to take back to your team is this: are you truly ready for this new reality of cybersecurity? Are your defenses prepared to handle an attacker who can seamlessly blend AI-powered phishing, software supply chain attacks, and zero-day exploits all into a single devastating campaign?
Hey, if you found this briefing valuable, please consider subscribing and giving it a like. Your support is seriously what helps us continue to bring you the latest and most critical cybersecurity intelligence. Thank you so much for watching, and stay secure out there.